When it comes to my winners of the NBA trade deadline, I would have to say that the Lakers are at the top of the heap here. The reason why is they were able to move off of Russell Westbrook's contract, which was, just a massive contract. And the Lakers have been trying to move off of that contract for months now, and they were finally able to facilitate a deal with the Utah Jazz to bring back some depth for that Lakers bench and then potentially their starting five as well. And as far as I see it, the fact that the Lakers were able to build pretty much what I would consider about a solid 8 to 10 man rotation going into the last third of the NBA season, I think that's something that could bode very well for them, potentially to set them up for a play-in tournament situation. They're the 13th seed in the Western Conference right now, which means that they still have a little bit of work to do. But the fact that you have this giant logjam in the Western Conference, basically between the 5th seed to the 12th seed, it wouldn't take that much for the Lakers to potentially get back into play-in tournament contention. And look, when you got LeBron James leading the way, Anthony Davis alongside him, now you got D'Angelo Russell in the fold, since the Lakers were able to facilitate a trade from Minnesota. I think this could set the Lakers up pretty solid moving into the last third of the season. If I had to pick one more team as a winner, I know we just talked about them, it would have to be the Brooklyn Nets, simply because it may not seem like they're a winner right now, because it seems like any sort of potential of them trying to win the finals this year is pretty much out the window. I think long term, though, I think the Nets are going to be in a position where I think that they can make some moves within the next 3 to 5 years. They brought back a lot of draft capital in that trade with Phoenix that sent KD to the Suns. And right now, they have a decent core of guys. You got Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith. You picked up Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges. I know you had Jay Crowder, but then you traded him to the Bucks. And you got some decent draft capital on top of that. And if these guys play up to their potential, I guess would maybe be the right word, but let's say they just play pretty solid basketball for the next couple months, maybe you get into the offseason and you maximize their trade value to even bring back in more picks, start a rebuild, and then essentially try a homegrown experiment in trying to develop a pretty competent team within the next, what I would say, 3 to 5 years. They tried the super team experiment with KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. It failed tremendously, and they have to go back to the drawing board, and maybe they have to start from scratch. That's something that they may consider this offseason, but I think overall, it seems to me that the Nets are a team that could potentially be a winner from this trade deadline. I won't say right now, but I think as time moves on, we'll look back at these moves that they made, and I think it could benefit them in the long run. So those are my winners from the trade deadline: the Lakers and the Nets.
And then for me, the losers, straight up for me, is going to be the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls. The amount of rumors, the amount of phone calls, the amount of tweets that people were receiving on a multitude of players on both teams. For the Raptors, there was rumors about Fred VanVleet. There were rumors about OG Anunoby. There were rumors about Pascal Siakam. None of them got moved. None of them were taken off of this roster. None of them were in a legitimate concrete package. Yes, there were speculation. Yes, there were deals that fell through. But for what Toronto has right now, 4 games under 500, sitting at 10th in the Eastern Conference. Yes, they're in a play-in situation, but as of right now, there's not a lot of leadership on that other than Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. It's just, I felt that it would kind of be best for them to kind of sit down and just sit a whole rebuild. They ended up trading for Podol out of San Antonio as well. So, I mean, they made a move to sort of improve, but a center is not necessarily going to go out there and win you games and really make a competitive run in the Eastern Conference. So that's why they're one of the losers for me. And then Chicago, I mean, they're riddled with injuries. They're also under 500. They're at the 9 seed, ironically. The only difference is the fact that Toronto has lost one more game. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Zach LaVine has been linked to a multitude of different trades. He was almost a Knick from the reports that I had read earlier today. That ended up falling through twice in 24 hours. DeMar DeRozan is not what he was last year. Lonzo Ball can't seem to stay healthy. Alex Caruso was deemed untouchable, but there was a rumor, speculation, whatever the hell have you, that the only way that they would step away from Alex would be for 2 or 3 first-round picks. We all know that he's not worth that. But once again, draft picks are like at an Oprah show. You get a first-round draft pick. You get a first-round draft pick. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't understand how these two teams had so many players linked to so many different rumors and other teams, and nothing happens. Back-to-back years. So, again, those are my two losers. I can't make the argument that the Trailblazers are a loser as well because they ended up getting a 3-and-D player in Cam Reddish, and they also ended up acquiring Matisse Thybulle to improve the defensive side. They're not needle movers in the sense of, well, those two people make the Blazers a more competitive team in the Western Conference, but they did try to make some moves to at least help, and they traded away Gary Payton II for 5 second-round picks. So I have no idea what the hell that was for, but neither here nor there. I would 100% say that Toronto and Chicago are my losers at the deadline today.